Hello everyone. I thought this graphic here was worth a look. It was released by the Ukraine government and shows Russia's stockpile of missiles and the number that they've used. Now before we go through it, I'm not sure how accurate it is or what source Ukraine used to get the numbers on the stockpile. The number depleted is easier for Ukraine to confirm as these are landing on Ukrainian territory, and of course they'll be tracking and keeping a tab on what's landed where. So at the top of the graphic are four columns: the stockpile, the number produced since the start of the war, the number used up, and the number remaining. The percentage I believe refers to that of the original stock left, not taking into account the newly produced ones. You will see why I think that when we get to the Kinzhal at the end. Each missile is separated by ground-launched, sea-launched, and air-launched. Since on this graphic these may look just like random numbers, knowing Russia had a stockpile of 500 Kh-35s is pretty useless without knowing what the Kh-55 is. I will also briefly look at each missile, its launch platform, and its range. So we're going to start with the ground-launched and the Iskander. The Iskander has been widely used in Ukraine by Russia. It has a minimum range of 50 kilometers and a max range of between 400 to 500 kilometers. It's fired from a mobile ground launcher. The designer said there are 7 types of missile for Iskander, so I assume the number in this chart is referring to each in general rather than a specific type. The graphic gives a stock of 900, with 48 more produced since February. Of those, 829 have been used and 119 remaining. So if this is accurate, the stockpile of Iskander is running low. Next up, the 3M55 Onyx. These are launched by Russia from Bastion P systems located on Crimea. It's designed in the anti-shipping role, but Russia has notably used it to hit targets in Odessa and near Donbass. It has a range of 600 to 800 kilometers depending on the version. Their stockpile was 470. None have been produced since February, and 123 have been used. So Russia does have quite a few of these left. Next one, the S-300. This is the air-to-air missile now being used in a ground-to-ground role because of depleting stockpiles. The standard one has a range of 150 kilometers, though the 40N6 variant has a range of 400. I think the ones being used in a ground role are the 150 kilometer version. It's unknown the range of these in a ground-to-ground role, but it would be lower than used against air targets. Russia has a lot of these, 8,000 in February, with 1,020 used, leaving a stockpile of 6,980. Now we will move on to the sea-launched and the Caliber. These are the ones launched from submarines and frigates of the Black Sea Fleet based in Sevastopol. These have max ranges depending on variant of 600 kilometers or as much as 2,500. As seen here, 500 were in stock with another 120 produced since. 391 have been used, leaving 229 remaining. So Russia is getting through these, but are also able to produce more at a somewhat decent rate for now. Whether they can keep up with that rate of production with sanctions and a limit on chips and that sort of thing is yet to be seen. Air to ground now. The KH-101 is launched from heavy bombers, like the 295 Bear shown here. Depending on the source, it has a max range of 2,500 kilometers, but Russia claims it's 4,500. But it being Russia, take that with a pinch of salt. Of these, 144 were in stock with 120 produced. 132 have been used so far, leaving 132. So again, this is one which Russia is managing to replenish by producing more. The Kh-55 is also launched from bombers like the 295. It has a range of up to 3,500 kilometers. 300 of these are in stock, 150 have been used, leaving 150 left. However, unlike the KH-101, these are not currently being produced according to this chart. Now the KH-22 and 32. These are often launched from the 222M and are designed in the anti-shipping role, but have been used in an air-to-ground role. It's of shorter range than some we've seen, 600 kilometers, Well, that's still a lot. It's still more than enough for the 222Ms to launch from a relative safe distance and hit a number of possible targets. 370 of these were in Russia's stockpile, and they've used 250 so far, so 120 are left. The Kh-35 is another anti-ship missile, now being used against ground targets. These can be launched from a wide variety of aircraft, including Su-24, MiG-29, Su-35, even helicopters like the Kar-52, so it's quite versatile. Its range is 130 to 300 kilometers depending on the variant. 500 of these were in Russia's stockpile, however, they've since produced 360 of these. 504 have been used, 356 are said to be remaining in Russia's stock. However, if the production rate keeps up, then this stockpile is unlikely to run low. Finally, one of Russia's bragging points, the Kh-47 Kinzhal. This is the hypersonic missile, said to have a range of over 2,000 kilometers. These are often launched from MiG-31s, and at least 2 MiG-31s armed with Kinzhals are deployed to an airbase in Belarus. Russia doesn't have many of these, just 43, and 16 have been used. However, these 16 have been replaced as 16 more have been produced, so the number remaining is still at 43. However, the percentage shown is 73%. Remember at the start of the video I said the percentage likely only refers to original stock? This is why. Before I look at what this tells us, I will take a quick look here at a second graphic from the British Defence Intelligence discussing Iranian drones. I won't go through it all, but it mentions that no Iranian drones have been used since November 17th and says that Russia's stock has been exhausted, but that more will be resupplied. It also mentions that Russia can get UAVs from overseas quicker than it can manufacture domestic cruise missiles. Now back to the original graphic. This tells us Russia is running low on ground-launched missiles. The Iskander stocks are very low, which is why they have resorted to the S-300. The S-300's accuracy in the ground-to-ground roll seems iffy at best. It doesn't seem to have struck many military targets and rather just crashes into a playground or a hospital or a school, that sort of thing. It's pretty useless. However, Russia does have a number of Caliber. These are launched from Sevastopol, in Crimea. If Ukraine can keep that Crimean bridge out of commission, then it will hinder the resupply of these. It doesn't matter how many of these Russia makes if it can't send them to the Black Sea Fleet. But that all depends on the Crimean bridge being kept out of service. Air-launched missiles, I have to say Russia isn't running low at all. The Kh-101 and Kh-55, for example, are being produced in decent numbers still, replenishing the stockpile. So I thought it interesting to see Russia's stockpile. As mentioned earlier, it's still to be seen if sanctions will have an effect on missile production eventually or not. But other than ground-to-ground Iskander, I don't think we could say Russia is running low. They have over 50% remaining for many types and are producing replacements for more. What is worth wondering, however, is the condition of some of these older missiles. As Russia eats into the older stockpiles of Kh-55s and Kh-22s and Onyxes, may we soon start seeing older, ill-maintained missiles making an appearance, leading to a decrease in effectiveness. And another thing that this tells us, Ukraine desperately needs the shackles taken off when it comes to long-range missiles. Ukraine's longest is the Tochka-U and then HIMARS. They really need something like ATACMS to help level the playing field. There is a rumour that Storm Shadow may be sent. That's a air-to-ground missile used on the Typhoon. I saw a few sites mentioning speculation that Su-24s are being modified to carry it, but as of now that's just rumours, though Storm Shadow would make a pretty big difference. Before we finish, I want to give a big shout out to a new batch of Patreons. It's been a while, so here you are. So thank you very much to Kevin, Keys, Bill, JP, and Sour Vodka. Thanks very much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. And thanks very much to everybody who's watched the channel, everybody who clicks like, everybody who subscribes, everybody who shares the videos, everybody who comments. Thanks for watching. I'm really glad you enjoyed the videos. So that's it for this video. If you found it interesting, please click like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thanks again, and take care everybody.